guys. So yesterday we talked about visual elements, things that authors use on book covers to draw your attention in so that you choose their book. So I brought a couple examples today that I found to kind of review that a little bit. So I want you to pretend like you're going shopping with your mom and dad and sort of buy school supplies. Alright, and say your mom gives you the choice of this book or this book, ladies. Which one do you think you're going to pick? This one. Why?
Because it's not boring.
It's not boring, catches your attention, right? Alright, well boys, what if your parents take you or your grandparents and they give you these two choices of a notebook? Which one are you going to pick?
The black.
More than likely, which one are you going to pick? The Jurassic Park one. Why, Ike? It's cooler. It's more fun. It's more eye-catching, okay? So these are just another example of visual elements, how you can use them to draw people in. Alright? So I have some examples up here on the board of visual elements that you're going to see that you've probably already seen in textbooks, nonfiction books. Alright? We have timelines. Who's ever seen a timeline in their history book? Yeah. Okay? Those are used a lot in history books. They tell us when things happened, what year they happened, so you can look at it all together and see the timeline of events. Alright, what about graphs? Who's ever seen those? We just saw one of those in our reading story last week, didn't we? Where they used the graph to show us. Alright, what about illustrations? Everybody in here has seen those, right? What about maps? We've all seen those, right? What does a map tell us? Where something's at, where something's located. Alright? We just had a question about that on our reading test. Remember? What's a book of maps called? An atlas. Yes. If I want to find the location of something, am I going to look in an atlas? Yes. Alright, what about diagrams? Has anybody ever seen diagrams? Where do you see those a lot at? Nonfiction books. What type of subject do you see those a lot in? Science. I guarantee you're going to see some diagrams on the ACAP test. Alright, what about photographs? You've probably seen bunches of photographs in this daily album history slide. We looked at a bunch yesterday, didn't we? Alright, what about infographic? You ever heard of that? What do you think that tells us? What do you think that gives us?
It gives us
Information, yes. Yes. Okay, so those are just a few examples that are going to help you as a reader better understand the topic that you're reading. That will help you in comprehending what you're reading. Okay? If you can look at a timeline of World War II, that will help you remember and understand when things happen versus reading it in text. Some people like to look at pictures. Does it make it more interesting when you're reading about World War I to look at photographs and timelines? Yes. Okay? So today, we're going to make an anchor chart. I want you guys to help me. And we're going to list some visual elements that you may have seen when you're working. Okay? We'll turn the light on. I want you guys to raise your hand before you call out. And we're going to use... Alright, so it's going to be titled Visual Elements in a Text. Who can think of one that you guys have seen before? Hunter? Pictures? What kind of pictures did you see? Pictures of dogs, if you're into about dogs and cats. Okay, Tucker? A map. Have we all seen a map before? Yes. Ellie Kate? A graph. Yes, we've seen graphs, right? Does that make math a little easier when we see graphs?
Yes.
Liam?
Captions.
Captions. What is a caption, Liam?
Something that tells you what's going on in the picture.
Great job. Yes, a caption are those words under a picture that tells you what's going on in the picture or who the picture is of.
Chart.
A chart, yes. Good job, Brady. Paisley? Timeline, yes. Has anybody ever had to make a timeline for school project before? So, Mason? We got caption. Alicia? A title, yes. You can use a title as a visual element. Like when you wrote your book title yesterday, did you make it big, colorful, eye-catching, plain? A diagram? Yes. We've all seen diagrams. We've seen them a lot every day when we do our ACAT review. Headings, yes. They use headings. Illustrations. What do you see those in? A lot. Books. Books that you read. They have illustrations in them. Did anybody think of other ones? Infograph, yes. Any other ones that we've seen? A newspaper, but they use these in a newspaper. Hazel? A subheading, yes. Alicia? We have diagram. So are these the ones that we're pretty familiar with that we use on?
Photo?
A photo, yes. You see photos in history a lot, don't we? And we've seen photos in science.
Yes, math too.
And math, that's right. Reading, we see them and everything. Alicia? We got that one up here. Okay, so now we have a pretty good idea of what these visual elements are, right? All right, so we're gonna look at a presentation on visual elements that kind of goes more in depth and gives you more detail. All right, so as we go through this lesson, I want you to think about how visual information can help us understand a text. Nikos, will you turn the light out for me, please? Alright, and this says, what are some ways to visually represent information? We just completed our anchor chart and you guys gave me tons of good ways to visually represent our information. What do we mean by visually? Where you can see. Does that mean if I tell you information, is that the same thing as visual? No. Okay? Alright, here's the definition. What is visual information? It includes charts, graphs, diagrams, maps, timelines, and pictures. Visual information helps us develop a better understanding of the text that we're reading. Like I said yesterday with your Alabama history book, if there's a picture on Florida of the cover of your Alabama history book, are you going to assume that book is about Alabama? No. So they use visuals that connect to the text. Alright, so we're going to watch a video, and I want you to notice what kinds of nonfiction text features are used to visually display the information.
Nonfiction materials use lots of tools to share information. Charts, graphs, and tables organize data and statistics to make it easier to read. Photographs and illustrations often have captions underneath them. Captions give more information about the picture. A diagram is a simple drawing that shows the parts of something or how it works. Diagrams have labels that tell you what each part is called. Some nonfiction materials have maps. A map shows where something is located.
All right, who can tell me what diagram we drew this week in our science notebook? Basically, a plant diagram. Did we label all the parts of the plant and we told how they worked? All right, so you guys are already familiar with using these.
Located. A timeline shows the order of when things happen. Timelines are often used with historical events.
Okay, same thing we talked about. Timelines are often